After much sanding, prep work, spilling of paint, temper tantrums, things like that, it's time to paint the mast. I started out by spray painting, but the primer that I was using, Prime Coat by Interlux, is way too thick for the paint gun. And in trying to get the paint to come through the paint gun blew up. So the wall got a lot of the paint, the floor got a lot of the paint, and I got a lot of the paint. So plan B, roll it. I don't like rolling because the finish of a rolled paint job never looks as good as a sprayed job, but at the moment I just don't have the choice. My spray gun broke, and I am not going to go run out and buy a new one just to paint a mast. So we're rolling. Like I said, I put Prime Coat on as an undercoat, and then sanded and sanded and sanded, and now I am putting bright sides on the mast. Have a look. And that's what it looks like so far. I'm about halfway done one coat. I suspended the mast from the rafters so that I could do all the way around it without having it resting on sawhorses and leaving a patch that I have to come back to later to fix. And so far it's working out just fine. So I'll carry on and get the job done. Welcome aboard again. It's about 15:45 in the afternoon and the sun is already setting, but it's a beautiful day. Just a gorgeous day out here, a little cool, but a gorgeous day. So I thought today would be a really good day to get the copper coat task finished. And I was all gung-ho about getting that done till I remembered copper coat, you have to do all 4 coats in one go. You put wet on tacky, which means that I'd have to do 1 coat, wait until it cures, till it's tacky, put on the next coat. That's a 6 to 8 hour proposition because it takes a while for the copper coat epoxy to kick off. So I won't be doing that today because it's going to be dark in about half an hour, and I don't want to be here at midnight. I want to go home. I have to go to work now. So we'll have to put that off for another day. It's too bad because it's the first sunny, nice day we've had in 2-3 weeks. But I'll have to wait because I want to do it right. So my job for the evening will be to continue working on the mast. The last video I posted was me painting the mast. Now, ran into a wee bit of a snag, which I'll show you in a second. The paint went pruny. That's the only way to describe it. And at first I thought, well, maybe it's something I did. But I took the trouble of emailing Interlux and they responded to me. And their take on it is that it's just too cold out and the paint didn't cure or dry. It's a polyurethane-based paint in time for the second coat. They recommend 4 hours after painting, and I left it for about 14 hours. I figured that would be sufficient, but apparently not. Come inside and I'll show you what happened. As you can see, the mast is nicely painted, nice white, nice bright sides white. But there is a problem with it. You can't see it from your point of view, but I'll show you in just 1 second. So the entire length of the mast looks pretty good up until about here. And from here to the end of the mast, we have this prune effect going on. I'm going to find a spot where it's really bad so that you can see it well on the camera. Here we go, right here. You see how it's all puckered up? It looks really ugly. But I don't think that it's going to really hurt the integrity of the paint job. Like, it's not going to flake off or anything. It just looks really bad. And at 48 feet off the deck, no one's going to see it. And the only one who will know is me. Well, and you. I like things to be done right, and I like things to be done the right way. But there comes a point when you're doing a job like this when you have to ask yourself whether the time and effort spent to correct the flaw is worth it. And in this case, I really don't think so. Because there is nothing wrong with the paint other than it's wrinkly, and it's not a car on a showroom floor. It's a mast at 48 feet. So I think I'm going to call that a paint job. So instead of sanding, which I was anticipating doing today, I am going to start reassembling the mast. I have to pull wire through the mast for the lights and the radio, the other electronics. But before I do that, I think I will put the stainless steel back on. Or maybe I'll clean the stainless steel. We'll have a look. Well, I always decide I'm not going to do something, and then my better instincts get the upper hand, and I end up doing what I said I wasn't going to do. So, yes, I am currently in the process of sanding down the mast once again. Actually, it's not turning out too bad. It's not that bad of a job at all. I've got a little bit of 220 paper on a foam disc, and I'm hand bombing it. And it's taking a while, but it's actually working really well. All the old brush marks where a previous owner used a paintbrush to paint it have basically sanded out. The wrinkle effect that happened is basically sanding out. It's taking a while, but I've got time, so it's going to look good. Once I got it done, it's going to look good. The reason I ended up with the wrinkle effect on the paint to begin with was because of temperature. I actually emailed Interlux, and they said that what happened is that it's about 50 degrees outside. There's no heat here inside the shop. It's just a shed, basically. There's no heat. And so the temperature inside here is about 55 degrees. The spec sheet for Interlux says you can paint at 50 degrees or above. So I thought I was okay. They recommended about 4-hour drying time, curing time for the paint before you put on another coat. I left 14 hours, but that wasn't enough. The paint wasn't cured enough, and the second coat attacked the first coat and caused that wrinkling effect. Now there's no structural paint. I don't know how to describe that. Issues with it, like when you pick at the ridges that were left behind, they don't flake off, they don't lift up or peel or anything like that. And as I'm sanding it, the high spots sand down fairly quickly. So it's not a huge catastrophe. It's just annoying that I have to spend this much more time sanding. But I've sanded as much as I'm going to sand today. So with that, the mast is now painted. I'll leave it for a couple of days to set up, cure up, get a little bit harder. And the next task to accomplish is rewiring, putting the hardware back on. Then hopefully the rigger will have his stuff in order and we'll be able to get this bad boy back on the boat. In the meantime, it's time for me to go home. So fair winds, following seas. God bless.